Let's take a shot at modeling this U-joint. I'm going to start by making a cube, Shift S, pick a plane, N for normal, R for rectangle. I'm going to draw a rectangle, type 20, enter, and then I'm going to click two sides and click E for equal. And I think I'm done. I think I can just hit Shift E for extrude. I'm going to extrude it symmetric, also 20. There we go. And I should have a nice cube. I'm going to hit P to turn the planes off. Now I need cylinders going through all four faces. Let's see if we can figure out a cool way to do that. Let's just Shift S, sketch, and C for circle. Just draw one for now. Let's see, the cylinders are 8 millimeters in diameter and they're 10 millimeters long. Shift E to extrude that. Make it blind, 10. Now I'm going to see if I can circular pattern that. I'm going to click, not linear pattern, a circular pattern. I'm going to select a feature pattern. Features to pattern is this guy. Axis, I'm going to select a mate connector, and hopefully there's a mate connector right there. And I'm going to do 4 of them, and I'm done. Oh, whoops, I also need to pattern it around the other way. No, actually, that's it. I'm done. Cool. I'm going to rename this spinner, and I like the color. I'm done. Okay, next, I'm going to make a new part studio. Now, remember, I model as many parts as I can in the same part studio if they share a lot of geometry. These parts aren't going to share a ton of geometry, so I think I'm going to make new parts for all of them. Let's see. This part started, Shift S, N, C for circle. This started as a 30 millimeter cylinder and 50 tall. Shift E. And that's my first feature, P to turn the planes off. Then I added a 10 millimeter cylinder on the bottom. Shift S. Normal, circle, 10 millimeter circle. And let's see, I'm going to extrude that 20. Okay, that's a start. Then I cut a rectangle out of the middle, 20 wide and 30 millimeters down. Let's see if we can do that. So I'm going to turn the planes back on. Shift S. I want to sketch on this guy, normal. And what did I say? 20 millimeters wide, 30 millimeters down. So I'm going to type R for a not center rectangle, just normal. Oops. Actually, I take it back. G for a normal rectangle, not centered rectangle. Let's see, cut a rectangle 20 wide, 30 down. Whoops, 20. I dimensioned that wrong both times. That's supposed to be 20, and this is supposed to be 30. Great. Now I want it symmetric about the center. L for line, Q for center line. I'm going to draw that center line. I'm going to click this, and this line and make them symmetric. That should be fully constrained. Now I'm going to extrude that rectangle. Now it's hard. I'm going to extrude as a remove. I don't like it how it's sometimes hard to grab that geometry. So I'm going to click the little backwards tick mark next to the tilde button, and that gives me another. Try that again. It gives me other faces below my mouse, and I can select that. I'm going to extrude it as a remove. Through all in both directions. There, I've got that rectangle. That looks good. Turn my planes back off again. Then I'm going to cut 2 more rectangles. And I didn't even say exactly what that, like the dimensions for that. I don't think it's that important. So hopefully it's not that important. Those 2 I'm just going to draw, maybe I'll draw one rectangle. I'll type G for this type of rectangle, and then, actually, let's do 2 of them. Let's draw 2 rectangles like that. Then I'm going to draw a center line, LQ. Hopefully that center line is fixed. I'm going to say symmetric here. And I'm going to put a dimension on that, D for dimension. I don't know, maybe, what's that, maybe 12. And I just need to make sure, make sure these are tangent, that'll help. And then the rest I actually don't have to worry about. I think that can work. So I'm going to cut that, extrude that as a remove faces. I want that whole face and that whole face. And I can say up to face. I'm going to select that face down there. Let's see what that looks like. All right, that looks pretty good. It missed some of the geometry, so I need to make sure I grab all of it when I'm selecting my regions. There, that looks pretty good. I think I like that. All right, let's add some fillets. And then we're about done. Let's fillet here, here, here. And 2 more spots, 2 more edges. I think that's looking pretty good. I'm just trying to make it look kind of like the picture. That maybe that fillet's a little big. What was that, 5? Let's make it 2.5. Yeah, that looks good. All right. Now I need 2 8mm holes, 10 from the top. So I'm going to say sketch on my right plane. Yep, circle. 8mm in diameter and 10 from the top. Yep, that looks good. Now I'm going to extrude that through both directions. So I'm going to extrude as a remove through all. And in the other direction, oops, that is a remove through all. Second end position through all. So that's going to cut through both. That looks pretty much like my part. I think that'll work. All right, now I'm going to make a bracket. So again, new part studio. And this one, let's see. This one, I think I'm going to make a surface, then thicken it. So here's how I do that. I'm going to sketch, let's do just a line. And this is going to be my line. That's it. Let's add sketch fillets to that in a minute. So I'm going to start by adding some dimensions. This is 50. I'm going to type F for fit. Then 110, 30, 50 here. Make sure I get the angle dimension. Whoops, I don't want that dimension. I want that dimension to be 50. Then I want 150 degrees between here. And that's done. Now I think I'll add sketch fillets. Let's see. Let's do like 5. And I'm trying to remember how I extrude. Yeah, let's do some sketch fillets first. I'm going to click here, here, and here. And those are 5. Good. Now, so I have a 2-dimensional sketch. It's not a solid that I can extrude as a solid, but I think what I'm going to do is first extrude that as a surface. So I click extrude surface. I'm going to select this curve. Might be able to do that. That's all my curves. I'm going to extrude it symmetric 40. And then I'm going to thicken it. And let's see, I'm going to thicken it 5mm, I think, toward the inside, if I remember right. Hopefully I get this right. Yeah. Let's thicken that. Surface is to thicken 5mm. Oh. Yeah, surface 1, that's what, I could have selected it down here, by the way. Okay, surface 1, 5 millimeters. Let's thicken it toward the outside for now and see if that works. Okay. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some holes in. By the way, I'm going to turn my surface off, so I'm left with my part, and I like to rename my parts. I'm going to rename it bracket. All right. Holes are 20 millimeters from center of the outside edge, 10 millimeters diameter. All right, so I'm going to extrude. Well, I got to sketch first. Sketch here, circle. 10 millimeters diameter and 20 from the edge. Cool. And then I'm going to sketch another sketch here. $10 millimeters in diameter, 20 from the edge. Yeah, great. Those are my two sketches. I'm going to extrude both those as holes. This guy, I'm going to do a remove up to next. And same with the other ones. Oops, not sketch. I'm going to extrude this guy as a remove up to next. All right, my bracket looks good. Now I'm going to try to assemble this thing, hoping I did all that right. So in my assembly, I'm just going to drop everything in. I can click Insert, and I'm just going to drop all 3 part studios in. One. I need 2 of those actually. And then this part studio here. I'm going to, yeah, that looks good. I'm going to go back to part studio 1. Edit my appearance so all the parts are different colors. I like this orange. Cool. Now if I go back to my assembly, let's do some assembly. I should be able to do this in just a couple of mates. I'm going to do a revolute mate, which is this guy, between this edge. Yep. And where is that supposed to meet up? That's supposed to meet up with like one of these edges here. Yeah, that looks good. All right, so what I just did is I made it so that cube is going to rotate with this. Oh, by the way, I usually fix one thing. I'm going to fix the bracket. So that cube should rotate inside that blue piece there. Then I just need to do the same thing for this other blue piece. So I'm going to do a similar revolute mate on that mate connector. Yep. And this edge, I think, will work. Looks good. Once I click OK, it's going to solve it. And I think I solved that one wrong. So I'm just going to edit that one and flip it. So looks like I maybe should have paid more attention. That looks good. All right, now that actually looks pretty good. I might be able to, now even though it's not looking exactly like what I want, it might work once I start assembling it to the bracket. So let's go ahead and do a slider mate, which is like a revolute mate, but it also can move along the axis of rotation, move up and down. My mate connectors for my slider mate can be this edge and this edge, and because it's going to slide, I think that's going to be okay. And I'm going to flip that. That's clearly not the way I want. That looks good. All right, we're getting close. Now, if I have everything right, I should be able to just mate this last one using another slider mate. Let's try it. So I'm going to select this guy and this guy, flip it, and hit OK. And hopefully now, oh, and I just realized the problem. Problem is, I made these slider mates. I did not mean slider mate. Slider mate actually has 1 degree of freedom. I need a cylindrical mate, not a slider mate. A cylindrical mate has 2 degrees of freedom. It can rotate and move up and down. So if I'm lucky, this will work. So right now I've got my assembly that won't rotate because I just have sliders. They're not supposed to rotate when they're sliders. I might be able to edit these and just turn these from slider mates into cylindrical mates. That is one of the beauties of these mate connectors. I can just, I've chosen two mate connectors, then I can say, okay, given those two mate connectors, what kind of mate do I want? I'm going to edit both of these, make them cylindrical mates, and let's see, I might get lucky. There we go. It's going to rotate. Now that it's a cylindrical mate, I could probably animate it. I'm going to animate the rotating part and say play. That is awesome.